So let's say I'm on my 50th playthrough of Skyrim and I'm going with a male Nord because I'm unoriginal and I'm all out of ideas. But I need a name. I click this button and I get Torvald. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's basically my Elder Scrolls name generator program that I wrote in a nutshell. But I'll go through the logic with you guys and show you how I made it in Python. So before we get into the main function, I want to talk about the other module that I have here called UES names, which is basically a list of all of the names from 8 Elder Scrolls races. So whenever you see the main function reference random choice, Altmer male names, just know that it's pulling from a random list of names here. All right, let's talk about the main function now. So we import tkinter and custom tkinter to draw the GUI. That's pretty self-explanatory. We import the random module so that we can randomly pick names. And we import the list of names so that our main function knows what we're talking about when we want Altmer male names, for example. I have one function here that pretty much handles everything. It has the name defaulted to prisoner, and the gender will equal gender var.get, which will grab the race of whatever the user checks off in the first box. And the same goes with race too. The user will check off a race, and that will be the variable for the race. And I also have an extra checkbox here that I didn't have labeled, but that governs whether or not you want an extra suffix or not for the red guards. Now, I'll explain what that means in a second if you don't get it. For now, let's just focus on, in general, what the generate button function here does. So it basically is just a bunch of if statements. I was going to use switch, but I didn't really notice how many I was going to need until I got around to like this part. And I just decided we're just going to keep using if statements. But you can make this a little bit more optimized and efficient if you want. So let's start with the most simple and first case here, which is male and Altmer. So if the gender variable is male and the Altmer variable, well, my fault, race variable is Altmer, it will assign the name variable to a random choice out of the Nern Altmer male names list, which is this list right here, Altmer male names. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it in this program here. If male Altmer, choose the male names. If female Altmer, choose the female Altmer names. If female Dummer, choose the Dummer female names. And it's pretty much just that simple. Now, the red guards were a bit more complex, and I'll show you why in a second. You see, the names for the male red guards consist of a prefix followed by a vowel and a consonant and sometimes a suffix. So instead of listing all the possible names, which is like about 75,000, they just listed the prefixes, the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and the consonants as well as the suffixes. So that you can basically just, pick one randomly and form a name just like that. The same goes for women, and it's actually even worse with over 520,000 possible names, which is obviously too many to document for the UESP. So instead of coming here and making a list of over like 600,000 red guard names, I instead made a list for the prefixes, a list for the vowels, a list for the consonants, and a list for the suffixes. And I did the same thing for the females too. However, the female red guards are even more complex because they have the option of an extra suffix. So I had to put in a female red guard suffix too. And in the generate button function here, this is where the checkbox variable comes into play. Now the checkbox variable governs whether or not the person clicks on extra suffix or not. So in this case, the checkbox variable is set to 1, which is on. And if I click it again, it is now set to 0, which is off. Now, if the checkbox variable is set to on, then it will generate the name choosing from the prefix, the vowel, the consonant, and the suffix. However, the else statement, which means the checkbox is off if it's not 1, it will choose from the prefix, the vowel, and just a consonant and leave it at that. Same goes with the female red guards. If the checkbox is on, in this case, it will choose from a prefix, a vowel, a consonant, a suffix, and an extra suffix, because remember, the female red guards have an extra suffix. However, if else, or else checkbox equals 0, because that's the only other option, Then the name variable will be set to a random choice of prefixes, vowels, consonants, and just one suffix. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of the program is just me drawing up the GUI with TK-Enter, custom TK-Enter rather, that gives you the whole like dark and modern look that you see here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's run through the program one more time. In this case, we are going to do female Argonian. So that is this case right here that we're running. Hit that generate name button and we get Peria. She looks pretty. Let's do another Redguard run because that one's a little bit more complicated. So we'll do female Redguard with an extra suffix. And that, with those parameters set, we will get the if gender is female and race Redguard, checkbox is 1, and we will generate the name based off these parameters. This is the case that we're testing right now here with these parameters set. And we get Breckie, or Brecke. I think Brecke sounds way better. She looks beautiful as well. So yeah, I'll link the program in my GitHub. If you ever want to start up a new playthrough, choose this. Now, there are reasons why I didn't include the other races. Imperials are basically just Romans. So if you want an Imperial name, just, have a real life name generator. I could make one, but it was just less work on my part and I wasn't going to argue. Now, orcs weren't playable in the older Elder Scrolls games, so they don't have a list on the UESP, and I would have to choose through a list of NPCs that are already named. And right now, I just want to keep the list confined to names that you would not very much see on in the universe of Tamriel, at least in the modern games, at least, because a lot of the NPCs are named these random names. But yeah, those are my reasonings for not including orcs or Imperials. So sorry for you guys there, but hey, at least I got 8 or 10 of them. And maybe I'll do an update where I do orcs. But yeah, that's about it. Link is in the description to the GitHub. You can download this for yourself with instructions on how to run it. And I'll see you on the next one. This has been Cam Coders. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, this is a chart showing all the names, and as you can see, the Redguard females are just, killing it. But the rest, it can range from 100 to, 170 names, or even 240 for the Khajiit. But yeah, this is just a chart showing how many names there are for each race, so that you know what you're getting into.